Very good morning to all of you. Today we'll discuss about Ambu Bag. This Ambu Bag was invented by Henning Reuben in 1953. It was originally called as Testa, but it was rebranded in 1980 and after that it was called as Ambu. Ambu stands for Artificial Manual Breathing Unit because it gives the patient oxygen artificially and manually by hand and acts as a breathing unit. Now the parts of an Ambu are, this is the outlet, this is the inlet and this is the bag which is made up of polycarbonates and polysilicon material. Now this outlet, this has two valves. One is inspiratory valve and the other is expiratory valve. The inspiratory valve which gives oxygen to the patient is a fish mouth valve. As you can see this acts like a fish mouth. When we give oxygen, this fish mouth will open and when the patient will expire, at that time this fish mouth will close. Now there is an expiratory valve which is by a yellow membrane which we can see here. This membrane acts like a diaphragm. It closes these expiratory ports. These are the expiratory ports which are closed by the membrane during the time of inspiration. But when there is expiration, at that time this membrane gets pushed back and this ports open up and the patient can expire out. If we want to see it in detail, we can open this and see it. So this is the fish mouth valve, inspiratory valve which we were talking about, and this membrane acts as an expiratory valve which closes these ports during inspiration, but at the time of expiration these ports get opened up and the expelled air comes out of these ports. If you want to close it again, so we have discussed two valves up till now, inspiratory valve and an expiratory valve. There is no pop-off valve which can be seen in this Ambu, but there can be a pop-off valve and there can be a PEEP valve. The pop-off valve is for expelling out the excess of air more than 45 mmHg and the PEEP valve is for supplying a positive and expiratory pressure to the patient. Now coming on to the inlet part, this is the part which we can attach to the oxygen tubing and this is the part which we can attach to the bag. Now there are two valves which are present both on this tubing part and the bag part, but there is also an inlet pore mode which we can see here. This is made up of yellow color material and this can let air and oxygen out through this. As we can see it here, it is made up of a membrane which can let air and oxygen through it. Now if we want to supply 100% oxygen to the patient, then what we can do is we can attach a bag here. When the oxygen goes inside, this bag gets filled and what we deliver to the patient is 100% oxygen. But if we don't connect a bag here, then we can deliver the patient not 100% oxygen but a mixture of oxygen and air, as air will go from this and oxygen will go for this. What will deliver to the patient will be a mixture of oxygen and air. So if we once again summarize the valve, there is an inspiratory valve, expiratory valve, there is a pop-off valve and a PEEP valve. These four valves are present at the outlet. And at the inlet where there is oxygen tubing, there is one valve. Then there is a bag which can be acted as a reservoir. There is another valve and this inlet valve as we have seen. So there are three valves at the inlet also. This bag is made up of polycarbonates and polysilicon material. Now what is the other names of this artificial manual breathing unit? It is also known as air mask breathing unit, as we told that air can be added to this. And it is also known as ambulatory mask breathing unit. It is called as ambulatory because we can carry it in ICUs, in recovery areas, in wards, in operation theatres where we want to give an emergency supply of oxygen to the patient. Now in ICUs, when there is a power cut of supply and the ventilator is not functioning, what we can do is we can connect this Ambu bag to the endotracheal tube and we can supply oxygen to the patient, 100% oxygen if we add here an oxygen tubing. We can also add this to the mask and we can give 100% oxygen to the patient. In recovery areas, in ICUs as well as in emergency OTs and operation theatres, we can use Ambu Bag daily. So Ambu Bag has multiple uses for resuscitation. It is also a very important means of CPR resuscitation where we want to give oxygen to the patient. Thank you.